Hey guys, so you want to break up scenarios because you have a few limitations, right? First of all, it's good to break up scenarios because it's easier to maintain. You set up each function as a separate scenario, right? So then something wrong happens in one, then you can troubleshoot it easier. Second one is that in my case, I have scrapers between the scenarios, and each scraper takes around 15 seconds. So because I'm scraping around, let's say, 150 links per run, that's gonna be, yeah, longer than 45 minutes, and the scenario is gonna basically, yeah, stop because we have the 45 minutes make.com limit. So how you do this is by using webhooks and setting up different scenarios, which I'm going to show you now. So welcome to my channel. This is Adrian at Timecodes Lab. I've made this thing for a client, so let me show you what I did. So originally I had a like a full scenario, and I would like scrape one by one. This is not exactly that, but it makes the point. So I would, let's say, add a column to my sheet, yeah, and then take that column and add some formulas, and then I would add the values. Okay, so what I do now, because this is not gonna work out really, I'm gonna close this tab. Now I have adding a column in this sheet. Yeah, by the way, for the ease, I just put all the spreadsheet stuff inside of this, like the spreadsheet ID, sheet name, etc. And basically in my HTTP request, I'm putting the file, the JSON file, and that's gonna get passed on. Okay, so it gets passed on, and yeah, you have your, what is it called? After it gets passed on, you have your data in the other scenario. Yeah. So if I'm just gonna show you guys how this works, if we just create a new scenario, I'm just gonna call this HTTP request. We're gonna delete this, put an HTTP, make a request, and then post. Then we create another scenario right here. And then with this scenario, we're gonna create a webhook, and then custom webhook. We just put it like example. So I want to show you the small stuff that actually matters for me. Example 2. So you take this webhook, you go to your request here, you put that URL, okay, and the body type, if you just don't put anything there, and let's just click OK, run this. Let's put this window here. So as soon as we run this, you can see this one just got activated, yeah? So that's how you activate your second scenario. In my case, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and once this runs, I activate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One thing annoying that I actually had, and I solved it, was when I was calling this. So let's say you want to put some data in your request, yeah. So for example, you can do like this. You can do query string, and because you want to, let's say, pass on something important. We say name is equal to Zimbabwe, and then you have, I don't know, let's say limit rows, which I have, because you don't want to get all the rows from an Excel sheet, and you want to control everything from your first scenario. You don't want to go into each scenario and put that in. Or let's say the same data, in my case, the same data is going across. So let's show you this. So let's say this data, which I have here, spreadsheet ID, sheet name, row limit, and last column name, everything is coming from this sheet, and it should go to all of them. So the annoying thing is, once you set this up, if you're using the header and putting that into each one, like header 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you gotta repeat that, and then let's say this happened to me a few times, you want to change, let's say, the spreadsheet ID, or let's say you change the name, so it's spreadsheet something else, right? So you change the name. Now you got to go in, because let's say here you put, let's say you put like name is something, right? Now across your scenarios you got to go in and put the same thing, right? And then you got to change it. So this is why I centralized all this data. I think this is just a good coding convention. Let's just go back and discard changes. So what I do is, you can also feed in a raw string, and I'll show you how that works. So if you, let's just activate this, let's run this, and then click activate, and you'll see that now we have a limit rows, and we can use this. If we set a variable, now we can actually call it value, and we can actually take the either the string text, it says text, you see here. Oh. Anyways, I cannot show you that, but okay, do you see that here it says text? And anyways, okay, so now we pass these things down to this one. So if we click run, and then here we're gonna put 56, and then we run this post request. So now we're getting 56 as the value, right? And yeah, we have the name. Okay, so another thing I wanted to teach you, instead of this, you can actually just feed in the raw JSON, and the benefit with that, so if you just feed the raw JSON, you would put this, and you'd call this body, and then if I'm not mistaken, you just put the number. Let's see if this works. Just training my JSON skills, yeah. Oh, never mind. I'm gonna run this again. We're gonna run this again, and it works. So if you want to just add the next thing, just put a comma, and you put row limit space. By the way, you have a JSON formatter here, JSON creator. Look at this. Just use this. This is way better, right? So let's go to JSON editor online. We can take 3. What is it? Why is it not giving me the default? There should be some default JSONs, but anyways, here. Okay, let me just see how I do this. I guess we can use another JSON thing. So here is formatting for you, see? But I like this first one better. So let's just put, for example, I'm just gonna take this one just to show you. If we put this here, as you can see, if you put an extra comma, let's say, this is giving you an error, yeah? So this is a good formatter for JSON, where you can actually catch the errors before you run it, because later on you'll see in make.com that if you put an extra comma and then you take this, let's go back to our example here, you put this in, see what happens. It's not even running, yeah? Or, sorry, let's put here 1, 2, 3. The whole point is here is we are centralizing the data, and let's put it there. So here we're gonna put, let's see if this works. So we run it, and yeah, it works. Okay, so what do we do now? Now that this is working, yeah, what I did is, you go inside this one. The thing is, you cannot use JSON parser. So let's say instead of you putting it into every HTTP like this, right? Because let's say I have 5, I don't want to go in and put the manually, and then it becomes kind of the same scenario where I have to go in and put it and split up my scenario. I don't want to do that. So I was thinking you can use parse JSON, this thing. But as you see very soon, the problem with this is once you take this and you put it in, the output is actually a collection with objects. So if we feed that in, we can't even feed this in. We cannot feed the whole bundle in, right? So if you go and set a variable here, you can just choose each of these separately. So what we do is actually very simple. So I'm going to teach you right now how that works. So if you set a variable, call it blah, a variable can just be a string, right? And JSON file is nothing more than a string. So let's say we take this, just for curiosity, I want to see if that works. I'm not sure if we just put 2, what's the difference if we don't have the quotes. Okay, so if we run this now, this is just a string, right? So this string we can actually feed into, let's say a parse JSON, whatever, or an HTTP or whatever. And if you put that string in, you can actually see that we get the objects. So we put this in, it's a JSON string, and then you get each of the objects, okay? So everything sounds Gucci, right? So that's how you do it basically, more or less. You just have a set variable. So let's say if you have a few HTTP calls, we set a variable here, not get variable, set variable. We're gonna call it request body, put this in. So this is where we would centralize the data. As you can see, for me, this would be this one. So we centralize all of the data that should be passed on repeatedly to different HTTP requests, right? By the way, another tool you can use is HookDeck. And then you can put everything into one. But then I don't know at what point it's gonna cost because it does like 10,000 events, and yeah, so I don't need it right now. You probably don't either. It does make things more professional in general. Okay, so here we just put the request body. So if we run this, let's run this once and then connect it. It's not showing right now, so which is annoying. Let's just put 1. And now it's gonna have this. Sometimes it just does that. Okay, now if we run this and feed this string, right, into the request content, and we tell it it's JSON. Now the output on the other side, so we are giving it headers, like these headers are each, well, it's not really the header. 1 second. It's not even saying, yeah, so I guess it's not even showing the request body that we put in. It's just giving you a status update. Okay, on this side, you see we got exactly what we needed. So from this variable, whatever we put here, from the first scenario, we can activate our child scenarios. And we have exactly the number we need. And with this set variable, you can actually have a few multiple HTTPS requests, and you just change the link, as you can see here. So you just change the links across these different HTTP requests, right? And the request body is going to be the same. So if you make a change, it's going to propagate. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I really hope that you learn a few things, and with this you can break up your scenario so that you don't hit the limit. And in general, it's going to be way more useful as you become an app developer, more or less, with this. And yeah, hope this was useful to you. Watch this other video if you haven't, and see you next time. Bye.